So.
Well, this is, of course, a very complex question, but let me bring it to maybe like 2 points, more from like the philosophical point of view and one from the real practical, pragmatic point of view, you know.
Yeah.
So starting with the pragmatic point of view, you know, I mean, we are all aware that our world is dominated by economics and by money. So it's always about economical issues in the first grade. It's consumption, how this globalized world of consumption is, you know, functioning, and what can be improved, you know, even by knowing about, you know, that this, let's say, cargo shipping is causing incredible problems for oceans. We know about all this kind of fossil energy mobility causing a lot of problems to climate change in there and so on. So basically, the issues discussed, for instance, in climate conferences is very much about political, economic issues concerning consumption, materialism, and so on, or it is based not quite good enough also on facts or figures given by science. And, you know, as a matter of fact, just to say this, scientists have told the politics for 30 years at least what is coming up in terms of climate change and as it comes to water and melting of the poles and what are the causes for you know, health for people and especially also for biodiversity, which is a topic I'm working very much on it, you know, and they have not been enough heard, not at all. You know, I mean, some of these issues, because they're very, very complex, well, of course they're present, but still politics, at least also here in Europe, are only beginning to really understand how dramatic the situation is, you know. Anyway, so just as a side information, you know. Now in this, you know, it is very clear. There's a hierarchy between what you need for living and what is materialism and so on. And then there comes the art, which is something beautiful and is something nice. I go for the concert on the weekend and this is very subtle and sometimes it's very complex and some kind of very, very sort of like strange stuff, you know, kind of contemporary art installations and so on. So this is not really necessarily, not really, you know, and therefore there is a hierarchy. And then there is this statement why that is a problem. And that's the philosophical issue from this question you have, you know. Philosophical issue that we cannot only live on economic-minded issues, because we need also some subtle levels, let's say like our soul, identity, health, cultural identity, culture practices. And this is the large scales of the arts. But we represent this value. And the issue is that we have to let this decision makers, the lobbyists and so on, to know that they should include artists in the debate, to just only maybe see a different perspective of decisions. And that's not taken place enough. So there's this big tension, you know, and therefore, yeah, I insist on it that it's important that we discuss, you know. And culture, of course, you know, also includes education.
Yeah.
No. And therefore, even more shocking for me that actually culture is not mentioned in the UN Agenda 2030 as a dominant major issue, because also it includes education. I'm certain that education, no matter on what level, education is a very, very important issue as it comes to knowledge of ecology, knowledge about interconnectedness of things, knowledge about respect, and so on.
The SDGs don't take into account the interdependencies between these goals or between these 17 things. I think that they've mentioned as much as maybe they should be. I'm guessing. I mean, since they all split into very specific criteria and categories, and each is doing their research and their practices in aimed at specific goals. So I'm guessing that is something that maybe is a topic of discussion and debate that, that would be interesting to kind of talk about as well.
Yes, I think so. And the science, they start really to think very much about that, what is like transdisciplinary and interconnectedness, like in the molecular cell biology or whatever, in physics, quantum physics. And so they certainly realize, hey, this is so complex and okay, there might be different point of views, why shouldn't we listen to them? Why shouldn't we include them in a debate, so on and so on. So that's one of the points why I have a lot of discussion with scientists. Actually, yesterday in this conference, there were 52 participants and scientists from all fields, but I was the only artist.
Amazing. But that also just shows the
that's exactly what I mean. It shows this kind of strange hierarchy, I mean, I was sort of like a little bit shocked to realize that there are not more artists involved in this debate yesterday, anyways.